I want you in the Ramseur Wesleyan Youth as a sponsor.
My name's Melanie Fessmeyer.
I'm Skylar.
Deborah Loser.
Christian Garcia.
Jake.
Sadie Mack.
It's Dylan Ratliff.
Brianna Cox.
Beretta.
Malcolm. Jamie Wilson.
And Daniel Miley.
I was probably one of those kids that was like drugged to church. I've been here my whole life.
2016.
A year ago.
3 years ago. 4 years?
Since I was a baby.
Well, 2 years ago.
About 3 to 4 years now.
I like to come because, I don't know, I feel like those people are like me.
Walk in and see the impact we're making in the community, and drawing in people with simple things like pizza and games.
We're talking, getting to know each other.
We usually eat.
And we eat and eat.
Or we eat.
We like eat me like 5 or 6 pizzas.
It's after Hunter is done speaking about the topic of the church, we go in a small room and then they talk about it more in details in a way where like we can understand it better.
When we was in youth group and we was doing this little, I guess you could say it's a project on cardboards. We split into two partners and we told them about what we did, how we upcame, and what our life is right now. Sometimes people are very open, and other times whenever something's going really wrong, they're not, so you don't know what's going on in their life. It really helped me to know that I'm not the only one who struggles in life. What I told them was like, my mom and dad were fighting a lot, but I didn't have to tell nobody that, so that's how I was open about that. And I live with my mom now and see my dad on the weekends.
You see where people are coming from, you see different backgrounds. Some of the craziest things I think I've ever heard are from the sponsor. I mean, you'd never believe where God has taken some people. The job of a youth sponsor is something that goes far beyond Wednesday night.
Help us with prayer, help us to learn about God.
They're there to show us that those struggles are something that can be overcome. And they can be overcome through Christ. I can remember being at camp. This is the first time I think I can really remember seeing youth sponsors, not so much as these high up people who had it all together, but as people who had struggled on that same personal level.
She talked about in high school how she went through things and, she felt like she turned her back on God, but when she realized, He was always there for her.
When I first started coming to youth, I had a really bad attitude. And then Michael had come and talked to me one night, having an attitude and acting like you're not better than everybody, but you know it all. It's not gonna get you anywhere in life.
They talk about God and they tell us not to do crazy stuff. I told myself that it was about time that I did something without acting crazy because I didn't feel like getting in trouble no more. Thanks for helping me pray and learn about God.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to what I got to say.
Thank you for taking your time with us kids, even though we're wild. Just keep on going because you're really good at what you're doing.
It's not easy, but the rewards that you get from doing it are really huge. You may never actually see the impact that you're having on them, but then again, how can you not reach out and try to make that impact on them so that they come to know God?
There's a lot of labor, but you do get to see the fruits of your labor. It's little pieces at a time usually. Just little comments here and there, and you notice, hey, they wouldn't have said that a few months ago.
We started being youth sponsors probably 9 years ago.
2 years ago.
I've been doing it for about 2.5.
The last year,
10 years.
Anyway, we were a lot younger then, a lot closer to teenage years.
We're not close to being teenagers.
Why did I start being a youth sponsor?
it meant something to me, the connection that I made with my youth sponsors.
I felt led into it because just the struggles that I went through as a teenager and wanting to use those trials to maybe help
I did it because I get stuck doing whatever she does.
My husband's the youth pastor. Even if he wasn't youth pastor, I'd probably still do it.
Originally, it was to try to bridge the gap with the kids between HTH and youth.
I enjoyed helping college used to run the computer for my youth pastor at the time, so I just kept doing it.
I think my overall favorite thing is probably high school night, where we get to hang out in our living room. I wear sweats, and we just talk about Jesus.
I enjoyed the hiking trip, even though I about died. Y'all gonna leave me dead on a rock somewhere. Putting our tents up and them helping each other and eating breakfast, lunch, and dinner together. That was fun.
Maybe a couple of the times going to camp with the kids, like on Wednesday nights, and doing the worship at camp and seeing all the kids participating in the worship and everything those are some moving moments. We're like, wow, this is good.
It's nice seeing them all together and just enjoying being with each other and just savoring time with God together and worshiping Him, like at conventions and at camp and stuff.
It's just an unprovoked, moment where you see them let go.
We went to revival and I witnessed multiple youth around the altar. And just seeing them come together and pray for one another, and when their hearts burdened, and we didn't even know what their hearts were burdened about, but we knew that those tears were sincere.
I saw so many of the kids that I had known beginning at HTH and then into youth that had really challenged us as workers, receive God's message, make a commitment to Him.
I was helping out with the small group of high school girls, and it was one of those moments where your story intersects with their story, and they finally see that, and you have that moment with them where they're like, okay, you're just another person like we are.
What was your most difficult time?
It's always when they're not listening and not being respectful. Or even when one of them's made a bad decision and you know that they could have made a better decision.
One of the kids was in the hospital. We went to go visit them, and it's pretty difficult to see them in that situation. The situations that they're in is not fair, and you want to change them. You can't just go in and fix it. You have to equip them to try and change it.
You spend a lot of time and you invest in these kids, and I mean, they're gonna make mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes, but it's kind of heartbreaking sometimes.
And it doesn't really matter which kid it is. It's still very difficult. It could be a kid who, your parents go to this church, you've been going to this church since you were a kid, or it could be kids whose parents don't come here, but that we see on Wednesday night in the youth ministry.
They're going through so much more than what I did as a teen. I just can't imagine the peer pressure, the lack of support that they have. And it's important for us to be there for them, and there's no one better to do the job but us as a church.
And then you just see them over the years or even over the months just transition, and I mean, it's just the Lord's getting hold of them, and you go over there and it's just, when you get done, you just feel good because you know the Lord is using these kids.
I like their hugs. I think the connection is what brings them to God because they feel like they're important.
I guess it's really whenever the kids finally realize that the Lord is there for them, that they have a family and that they're welcome here, and no matter what they do, they can still come.
Hunter's been bringing the kids on Tuesday night to the food pantry when we have service, and to watch them circle up and pray, and you hear, wow, they can, they're picking this up. So if you're even thinking about wanting to do this, I would encourage you by saying it doesn't matter if you know how you want to or if you're not sure how you can make an impact. Any and every spiritual gift, it can be utilized.
If it's on your mind, then do it.
I think we want them to have and experience everything. We want them to be in all the sports. We want them to do gymnastics and all that. And I hope that we don't lose sight of the most important things in our life, and that's our faith and our salvation in Jesus. And I just think, you know, being committed to being a youth sponsor helps me to be more committed to being here routinely and faithfully, and bringing in people who are different than us and don't have the same, you know, church background than us. I have, you know, frequently thought this is our chance to catch them, and it might be the last chance.
We're a pretty diverse group that have been helping out the past couple of years that I've been a sponsor, and you know, I think that's what it takes, and it takes a village. Like it takes more than just a few people.
Try to be as nice as possible. You want to strangle them some days.
The kids are crazy, the pay sucks, but you know what? We have fun.
Yeah.
Say yes. I think you'd really like it. You get to be involved in a lot of things, and we really do appreciate you.